Right. So, hello, it's Neil Romanic from the Flint, and this is the first Flint Water Cooler. I think that's what we're going to call it, called the Flint Water Cooler. It's an opportunity to just have a quick drop-in conversation with somebody and just chat about issues going on and kind of, before you have to get back to your hard work. And I have Barbara Lange here, which is great. And I've got my tea, and she's got her water. She's actually literally
Got
at
my
the water
water.
Wonderful.
I'm prepared. Nice to see you, Neil. Thanks for having me at your inaugural water cooler chat. That's
Absolutely. Fun. Wonderful. Yeah.
That's what happens when you get to the water cooler. You choke up.
I know, exactly. Anyway, so Barbara, and if you don't know, is CEO of Kibo 121. And she's a partner with Lisa Collins in putting together the Media Tech Sustainability Series. And we're going to talk a bit about the MTSS and NAB coming up. So the NAB Show, big National Association of Broadcasters show, is coming up in a couple weeks when this goes live. And you guys, MTSS, are doing the first time it's been done at the scale at NAB, a whole day of sustainability training and discussion and kind of immersion in media tech sustainability. Yes?
Yeah. And we think it's the first time ever in our industry where we're going to do really a dedicated workshop around all the issues that you need to know for sustainability in the media tech sector in particular. What I've found in my going on 3 years of doing this business is that we're in an education knowledge sharing phase. There are a class of people who are very familiar with what sustainability means and are actively engaged in it, but there's a boatload of people, boats loads of people, in fact, who just don't quite understand. So what does this mean? You know, I can sort of figure it out if I have an EV at home, but I don't know what it means in the media tech sector. So we hope that they'll attend our workshop and learn from outside speakers, not just from me and Lisa, but from industry experts and other people who are doing the work. So case studying a little bit and hopefully be inspired to get on their journeys too. So yeah, it's going to be on Saturday. It's actually half a day. We'll graduate to a full day maybe next year, but it's half a day on Saturday afternoon from 1 to 5, followed by the requirement of drinks at the end.
Oh, well, so this can become a full day. You know, it's Las Vegas.
It can become a full day.
I have noticed at sustainability events that there tends to be a lot of post-event chit-chat. So it could just go and go.
A beer, yeah, or water at the water cooler. Well, we'll have beer and wine. So yeah, please. And it's free to join. Part of what our mission is with MTSS, Lisa and I, we feel that it's really important to make the information accessible so more organizations get on this journey. And so everything we do with the MTSS, we've been doing for free, supported by industry, of course. So people can go to our website and learn more, see video content from last year's conference, white papers, video blogs, and all sorts of information around sustainability in the media sector.
Great. So that's I'll can put all those links and stuff in the show notes and stuff for this. Wherever you're looking at this at.
Here.
But so you have ongoing. There's this, but then there's a summer online event. Is there, or there was last year?
Yeah. So we kicked off last year, was our first go at this, and we did an annual, what we called a summit, and we had so much success and so much positive feedback that we decided we'll make that an annual event. So we will be doing a second annual MTSS event on June 25th. It will be virtual, and we will construct it somewhat similar to last year. In fact, we think we're going to bring this training session that we'll do at NAB to that event because a lot of people can't make it to NAB, and that is an in-person event. And then we're inviting people from the industry to present their case studies of things that they're doing. I think a lot of people learn from others who are doing things already. So yeah, June 25th. And then on June 26th, we're collaborating with the Greening of Streaming team, and they'll be doing their annual member meeting on the 26th. So 2 days of good, deep sustainability media stuff.
Great.
Um, can I
And then
mention?
oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, can I just mention, also at NAB, we're doing a also new feature, and that is we're working with NAB to help identify exhibitors who are presenting themselves in a sustainable way. Of course, coming to a big event like that in the desert, bringing however many people, setting up a booth, it's hard to think sustainably, but we want to incentivize people. So with NAB, we've crafted a small little 10 question questionnaire. It's free to apply. Exhibitors can take this little survey. If they achieve a score of 70% or better, we will give them a badge. And hopefully other vendors, suppliers, customers will notice that. And we hope that's also a beginning of a new thing as well.
So will that be, is that before the show? So if I'm exhibiting at the show, I need to do that now? Or okay, if I'm at the show and I'm gonna hear about this thing, can I go find you, or is that too late?
No, we would like you to do it before the show. Yeah. And technically, our deadline is tomorrow, the 29th, but I'm sure if it's a few others trickle in, we are doing everything digitally, so we should be able to manage it. But yeah, it's before the show. We don't have the facility on the floor. Well, yeah, before the show. That's
Yeah,
best.
yeah. As not a big deadline fan, I'm asking when's the last possible moment I can have it done.
You and your business, right?
Oh yeah.
Deadline.
So the now NAB is a US based show. Obviously, there's kind of those two big for those who are in the media tech space. There's kind of these two big media tech trade shows. There's the NAB show and the IBC show. So IBC is International Broadcasting Convention, something like that, in Amsterdam. NAB is in Las Vegas. So NAB tends to be a US based show generally, and I mean, it's an international crowd, but it tends to have more of a sense of the US industry and stuff. So I wondered because we had talked about this before, what's your sense of the US sort of media industry, US broadcast industry, and its sort of positioning on sustainability versus what you've seen in Europe? They're kind of different there.
Yeah, for sure, different. It's not progressing probably as quickly as we would like at the moment, simply because in Europe there are different drivers, and the main drivers in Europe are regulatory mandates and things of that sort, and also I think a social community of people who they suffer probably more directly from things like the energy crisis. And, there are different motivating factors there. So Europe is by far ahead and probably leading around the world in terms of general sustainability measures. And you see it in the broadcast sector. Here in the United States, our drivers are different. They are mostly economically driven. Most of the sustainability actions that you see are from listed companies, public companies, because they need investors and they want to motivate investors to join them. And so you will see the big media broadcasters and studios and tech firms having sustainability ESG messaging, but it doesn't trickle all the way down to smaller, medium-sized companies. But I say that's going to change. A couple of drivers in the United States will contribute to that, I believe. Firstly, while we don't have any federal regulations, the state of California signed legislation last fall, October 2023, that is very similar to the EU CSRD mandates. So they will begin to roll out, I believe, in 2026 for the largest firms, and then it will trickle down such that all companies are going to be required over a period of time, probably by 2029, to have sustainability metrics. So it's coming in California. If you do business in California, you're going to have to comply. And of course, the media sector is very big in California. And if you're going to do that for your business in California, you'll probably do it all across the US. So I think that will be a driver. The second observation I'll make is that the SEC, so our Securities and Exchange Commission, just finalized a ruling that we were waiting almost 2 years for, where they have mandated now that sustainability metrics must be part of financial filings for scopes 1 and 2. The real question was whether they would go all the way to scope 3, but they didn't win that battle. And some feel that that's a bit of a, it is a sad case. We should have gone all the way to scope 3. But scope 3 is very difficult. And I think to move the needle, we need to start somewhere. So those two things, I think, will accelerate what's happening in the United States. And one last bit, if you're a media firm and you want to do business in Europe, even though you may not directly have a requirement to report, if you're doing business in those countries, you will have to report. So it's going to happen, and it's going to accelerate, I think, in the next few years. So I think the timing for our training and our getting people sort of thinking about it, talking about it, I think it's actually pretty good. And, as a global media business, it's quite likely that organizations are going to be crossing boundaries. And so they need to understand. The thing about sustainability, though, is you can, yes, of course, there are mandates and regulations and you have to report and all that stuff. But you can just start by looking at your own business, and you don't have to go all the way down the path of measuring every use of energy that you have. If you just start by doing an assessment, just do an assessment, see where you're doing today. And then once you know that, you can begin to make changes. And then you can begin to say, oh, well, if I make changes, then you can start measuring, and you can say, okay, my change from fossil fuel energy, gas car to an EV, the energy change is this. Then you can get into the data bits, but you start with an assessment. First step.
I think that's the thing that people worry about. It's like, oh, I've got to know my carbon footprint. I'm not even sure I know what a carbon footprint is. Do I have, what do I, and it is, it can be very simple. It's like, well, are you, you know some of the big sort of things, that we've got to get rid of fossil fuels fast. So how can you do that? There may be some simple things that you can do. And then I assume if, coming to see you on Saturday at NAB, that if I'm a new company, I'll kind of get some tips about some of these things that I should focus on and other things I could maybe leave.
Yes, absolutely. And I think our ongoing message is just that be aware, again, knowledge sharing and awareness building. So understand the lingo, understand sort of the concepts. And once you understand that, then you can sort of plan your strategy, and everybody's strategy is going to be a little bit different, depending on where you are in the world. And so what we want, and we hope that we inspire people to take that first step. And it could be a big step that says, oh, I'm going to be net zero by 2030, or it can be, I'm going to get my assessment done this year. And both are okay, because you're changing a mindset. That's really what's important.
Yeah, you put on your workout clothes and get out the door, and that's half the battle.
That's it. Yep, get on the workout clothes. I like that.
Well, great. I really look forward to it. I will definitely be there in the Flint. We'll be covering that. So we will see you in person in Las Vegas on that. What is it? April 15th?
April 13th at 1 p.m. It's going to be at the in the convention center, in the central hall there, N115, and like Nancy 115. And we do invite people to register in advance, just so we have a count of who's coming, and they can do that on our website. So yeah, look forward to seeing you too, Neil.
Great. All right. See you then. Bye.
Okay. Thank you.